Formula One does not write its greatest stories only on the straights of Monza or the curves of Monaco. Sometimes an entire year is decided in the narrow canyons of Singapore's city streets. It is here that McLaren stands on the brink of a historic moment. Only 13 points separate the Woking team from sealing the Constructors' World Championship ahead of schedule. Just one podium from Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris would be enough to settle everything. And yet enormous tension hangs over this weekend, because the rivals have not given up the fight. Mercedes and Ferrari cling to the faintest of hopes, fully aware that they would need a miracle in Singapore. The Silver Arrows would have to outscore McLaren by 31 points, Ferrari by 35. Numbers that hardly reflect the true balance of power. In recent months, McLaren has set the benchmark, dominating with a string of 4 double victories before the summer break and making Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari look like background actors. Only a chaotic weekend in Baku prevented the title from being decided there. But that very misstep in Azerbaijan ensures that Singapore is far more than a formality. For the first time this season, McLaren appeared vulnerable. Piastri stumbled repeatedly, from a qualifying crash to a poor start, while Norris wasted the chance to score heavily. At the same time, Max Verstappen seized the opportunity, winning convincingly and cutting the gap in the drivers' standings. It was a warning shot McLaren could not ignore. The question now is the team ready to strike back under the floodlights of Singapore? Or will the trend of slight weakness continue? The Marina Bay Street circuit is, in many respects, the toughest test imaginable. Technically, it demands maximum downforce. Physically, it pushes drivers to their limits. In the humid heat of Southeast Asia, liters of sweat are lost, and every lapse in concentration can end in concrete. Add to that the notorious length of the race. Nearly 2 hours, often interrupted by safety cars. Only those with the nerves of steel make it through. For McLaren, it is the ultimate stress test. Can they clinch the championship in an environment that leaves no room for error? Andrea Stella's team knows they are not just racing for themselves in Singapore. A victory, or at least a podium, would crown the season, but also send a message to the entire paddock. McLaren is back as a dominant force in Formula One. Not occasionally, but for an entire year. It would confirm that the painstaking rebuild of recent years, the difficult times after the slump of the 2010s, are now bearing fruit. For the fans, the message is clear. This is no ordinary race. It is the chance to witness history. Should McLaren indeed clinch the Constructors' Championship in Singapore, it would become the defining moment of this season's narrative. But the competition will throw everything at them to prevent it. Mercedes hopes the tight corners will suit Hamilton and Russell, while Ferrari is banking on a surprise after their internal chaos in Baku. And Red Bull? Even though they are out of the Constructors' battle, their focus is elsewhere. Max Verstappen wants to extend his winning streak and keep Piastri under pressure in the title race. A McLaren triumph in the team standings paired with another Verstappen win in the Drivers' Championship. Such a scenario could dominate Sunday's headlines. One thing is certain, the race in Singapore will not be a walk in the park. It is the place where McLaren can win everything or lose their momentum. While McLaren has everything in their own hands in the Constructors' fight, the paddock's eyes inevitably also turn to Max Verstappen. The Dutchman has sent a clear signal with wins in Monza and Baku. He is not ready to hand the title fight to Piastri without resistance. With a 69-point deficit and 7 Grand Prix remaining, a 5th consecutive title is still mathematically possible. But Verstappen knows it will require perfection and mistakes from McLaren. This is where Singapore comes into play. The track is considered a weak spot for Red Bull, a circuit that has previously exposed their Achilles heel. Not a single victory for Verstappen here, only 3 podiums. A stark contrast to his usual dominance. Helmut Marko said it openly. If we are competitive in Singapore, then we can dream of the title. The pressure is enormous. Another victory would not only shrink the points gap, but also shake McLaren psychologically. A return to old struggles, however, could decide the championship once and for all. For Lando Norris, the situation is no less complicated. For months he has played the role of hunter behind Piastri, but in Baku he showed weaknesses. A ruined qualifying, strategic issues, and a race error left him only 7th at the finish. Instead of closing the gap, he lost valuable points. Singapore now becomes a proving ground. Can he fight back and put Piastri under pressure? Or will he slip permanently into the role of the eternal teammate, the one who fails to deliver when it matters most? The question of mental strength is central. Piastri faced his first real crisis of the season, a double zero in qualifying and the race in Baku, ending his impressive streak of 44 consecutive points finishes. He still leads comfortably, but how will he respond after this setback? Singapore allows no margin for error. Another slip could catapult Verstappen straight back into the title fight and give Norris fresh hope. And then there is Ferrari, a team that once again exposed its flaws in Baku. A disastrous qualifying, poor race pace, and a small radio spat between Hamilton and Leclerc made headlines. In Singapore, where qualifying is traditionally key, there can be no internal power struggles. The Scuderia needs a strong weekend to calm frustrated fans and at least fight for a podium. Hamilton publicly promised an apology. Leclerc played down the team order drama. But the question remains, how stable is the relationship when the stakes are truly high? The future of Yuki Tsunoda will also be a topic in Singapore. The Japanese driver scored his best result of the season in Baku, finishing 6th for Red Bull, but rumors about his future persist. With Isaac Hadjar ready to move into the top team and Arvid Lindblad seen as a possible successor at Racing Bulls, Tsunoda is no longer fighting for promotion, but for survival in Formula One. Another strong result is vital. Over everything looms the question of whether McLaren will claim the constructor's crown in style. Andrea Stella knows that just one podium is enough, but no one wants to win the title with a mere formality. It is about making a statement. A 1-2 finish in Singapore would be the ultimate response to the doubts raised in Baku. The conditions make the spectacle even more unpredictable. Singapore is the most physically demanding race of the season. Nearly 2 hours in tropical heat, little air circulation in the cockpit, repetitive 90-degree corners testing concentration. Mistakes are almost inevitable, safety cars nearly guaranteed. Whoever keeps a cool head in this furnace will decide victory or defeat. For spectators, it is clear, the Singapore weekend will be more than just another race on the calendar. It is the place where destinies are shaped. McLaren's constructor's crown, Verstappen's title hopes, Norris's self-belief, Ferrari's credibility, and Tsunoda's career. Under the artificial lights of Marina Bay, the championship drama could reach its decisive turning point. In the end, it is not just about points, but about messages. McLaren can make history with a triumph. Verstappen can make the impossible seem possible again. And every mistake, then whether by Piastri, Norris, or Ferrari, will dominate the headlines. Singapore has always been a place that defines careers and destroys title dreams. 2025 will be no exception.